Hey Nationers, what's up? Welcome back to a brand new video. I am super excited to let you guys know that I am finally posting a video after like a month and a half of not posting at all, mainly because I've been focusing on this one big event in my life. And I'll explain that in a little bit, but first off, I want to thank you guys so much for all you guys' support. Even without me posting and whatnot, I've been looking at my Social Blade views and everything about it, and you guys have been rocking it with like averaging about 30 views per day without me even posting, and that's incredible. I want to thank you guys on behalf of all that success. But let's get down to business. So what I was talking about earlier was like that big thing. It's not the month of May, but it's something that happens in May, and it's something that I've always wanted to accomplish. It's something that has been in my mind and been on that bucket list for quite some time, and that was a state title. Being a state champion in 2A, it's something that I've always wanted to do, and yesterday, March 25th, I was able to accomplish that feat. I was able to finally call myself a state champ after 4 years of just being, just so in my head, just wanting to win this title. And so I'm here to tell you guys exactly how it went down and how I became a state champion. So before we get right into it, I appreciate all your guys' support, and if you guys would like to continue that, make sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit it, and don't forget to subscribe. We're at 827, and we've only dropped 1 subscriber for the time that I've been gone, so that's pretty good. So hit that subscribe button if you are new. But let's get down to the important stuff. So basically, I'll put this into perspective for you. As I began my high school track career, I guess, quote unquote career, but my success. My freshman year, as many of you guys know, I broke the freshman school record with a jump of 42.1 at the district meet, which is like if you comparatively put it, it's like the first round of like playoffs in like NBA or like football. It's basically like your first round, and you have to move yourself up through each meet, and you have to qualify. So I already qualified. I was 4th place. I came out first at the district meet my freshman year. My sophomore year, I came out. I didn't do so hot at regionals, but then my junior year came by. I'd sprained my ankle in early December, and that set me back a little bit with training, not doing cross country and being on my feet all the time. So that already set me back a whole bunch. But I go into district meet. I came 3rd. I came out of that meet, and then I go to regionals, which was in Ephrata, which is a town in Washington, and I was unfortunately very much screwed over by some of the officiating. So how it works in triple jump, you get 3 preliminary jumps in your flight, and then the top how many people, it's usually 9, make it to finals. But basically, since there's only 8 people, you just need a legal mark to make it. And so what happened is, on my 5th jump, since I made it to finals and got a legal jump in preliminaries, my 5th jump, everyone's watching the crowd. It's one of the last events that's happening around the track and on basically for spectators to watch. And everyone thought that was not like a scratch. And what I mean by scratch is, like, imagine here's the board and your foot is like over it, like. So this is a legal jump right here. If you watch my hands, this is a legal jump, but this is not, meaning that it's over the scratch board or over the board as a whole. And like they said scratch and then didn't mark it, and everyone was all furious. So I come back on my 6th jump, and I knew I was sitting in 4th, and some people had like jumped really good, and so they bumped me back down to 5th, and top 4 make it. And so what happened is I didn't make it. My 6th jump was a scratch by a 1/4 inch. And I was devastated. I started yelling at the officiating people and whatnot. But there's so much I can do. And so I used basically that entire season, off season that is just fuel to come back bigger and better next year. I had a really good summer track season. I jumped 43.11 and 3/4, basically 44 feet, which is actually really good for coming off such a I guess disappointing season. And so I came back with the mindset that I'm going to work day in and day out on track. Now, when it comes down to it, I did football. That was something that I wanted to do, just because it was my senior year and I've never done something like that. But it wasn't like so far of me to like just do something that I've never done before. I've always been kind of like that type of person. And so when it came down to it, I did football. I got a concussion, as many of you guys know, in early October, which set me out until like about the same time as like Thanksgiving, like right after Thanksgiving. After Thanksgiving hit, I finally got cleared, and I was like, okay, it's time to get into the gym, put in those hours, put in the work. My coach, Tyler Sullivan, has been so great to me for being able to give me workouts and just be there for everything. And so when it came down to it, like being in the weight room, just at school and like at Planet Fitness, I was really just like, I was on the dot. I was getting every single workout done. There's a couple that I didn't finish just because it was just kind of, I guess, hard or whatnot. But nonetheless, when I wanted to stop, it was that end goal, knowing that like that title's more than anything. Like I may not feel it now, but those rewards will really pay off. And that's something that I've learned, is that you reap what you sow, and what you put in is what you get out of it. And so when we started the season, it was really snowy. I felt a lot faster. I didn't have so much as bounce as I normally did, because I kind of put on some pounds just due to the muscle that I had put on in the off season. And so March 30th was our first meet, which should have actually been the 16th, 2 weeks before. And I break the school record, something that was on that bucket list, but I know that there's more. I jumped 45.4 at that meet, and ever since then I've been kind of working my way up in long jump, getting on the school record board, and also being just kind of all around jumper, and just being better at what I do. And so as the season kind of goes on and we're having rainy meets, I had success at a really prestigious track meet, Pasco Invite. I got third there in triple jump with a jump of 45.1, which is really awesome. That was something that I never had success there either. And so I was just really grateful to have success there. And as we move on, I was kind of working through meets and whatnot. We took a meet off of jumping due to like my back being hurt. And so really it came down to how do I feel, and just kind of getting through kind of like the times. And so district comes, I win triple jump, and I came second in long jump, so I qualified for both. So then we go to Central Washington University for regionals. This is on May 17th. No, yeah, 17th. And I didn't make it out of long jump. I kind of got screwed over a little bit, but kind of like not. It was really windy, and long jump's not too fun in the wind. But we go to triple jump, and like I said, I've never really had good luck there. And so I'm kind of like in my zone, not really talking to anybody, uncharacteristic of me, that is. And I jump like 39 feet, which was my worst jump of the season, mainly because I didn't get off my first phase very well going into my second. And so I was like, okay, and my second was a foul. I know I already made it to finals nonetheless, but then my third jump, I jumped 44.1. And at regionals, they have a state qualifying mark. And so if you jump a state qualifying mark or better, you automatically make it to state. So you could have like all 8 guys go. But nonetheless, I jumped that, and I was just so relieved. And so I jumped 45.25 inch on my final jump, which was the exact same jump as my 5th jump. So I guess the consistency was there. But nonetheless, I knew I was going to state. I was super elated. I was the only person from East Valley to make it to state. We had another guy, Zach Severin, who definitely could have made it. But they have these guardrails in the middle, and he wasn't used to that. And so he tried making a move on the inside of lane 1 and fell because he stepped on the guardrail. But nonetheless, he definitely would have made it. But hopefully he uses that as kind of like that motivation, not making it and knowing that he could, as that fuel for next year. But nonetheless, we're heading in. I'm the only state competitor from our school in track going. And I was just like, okay, it's time. And so I look at the heat sheets, or quote unquote heat sheets, fight sheets, same thing. And this guy, Nick Jenkins, who I've been watching throughout the entirety of the the spring track season. He's been jumping really good, 48.4, jumped 47s a couple times, but he's put a jump out there before. So he jumped 46.6 46.6 at the regional meet. And so I'm like, okay, we got to go big. We got to get a PR. Hopefully that he doesn't jump well, and I jump really well. And so he just miraculously, it was Wednesday, and this is 2 days before I'm going to leave. I'm leaving Friday morning-ish, and I get good news. I'm taking a physics test, and I'm listening to music, and I hear like a ding from my phone because I had headphones in, and I look down, and it's my dad. He's like, Nick Jenkins isn't jumping a long jump and triple jump. He's not going to state. And I'm like trying to contain myself. I'm like, this is just like, no. I'm like, no. I'm like, what? And so he sends me pictures of like the new updated flight sheets, and I'm number 1. And I just lost it. Like, I was trying to like contain myself, but like I was like, okay, I'm finishing this physics test and going out into the hall to celebrate. But the good thing was that like it was just like, wow, like I have a legitimate shot to do this. And my dad told me that his teammate Brian Tavera, who had previously didn't make it to state because Nick had made it, but since Nick pulled out, Brian had the second best, or the best jump that didn't make it. And so the thing is that he got to go. And so it was kind of like a win-lose situation. Like, I know I can win, but like the defending state champion just got re-entered into the state meet. And so he can jump really well. I've known he's jumped 46 before, like he did last season at state. And so what basically happens is I'm going to state, and I got to take down the defending state champion. And so what basically happens, I'll put this into a really good perspective for you. So we drive over to Seattle Friday. We get there around 5. And the funny part is that me and my father, we get there, we just kind of chillax in the hotel, and it just seemed to really, like, I guess, like, boring because we're there forever and just not doing anything. So we went to go get Popeyes and eat with my coach. And we were just talking about like how it's kind of going on and whatnot. And so we then go to bed. We wake up, eat breakfast, and we leave the hotel a little bit before 11 because that's checkout time. And we go to the stadium, Mount Tahoma High School, where the state meets at. And the cool thing is that I've seen it before. I went to state my sophomore year as an alternate, basically just to kind of see what state could be like. And so I'm familiar with like the pits, seeing them, where we're going to be jumping. It's a little bit more cloudier like it is today outside, but it's going to rain. And I know it's going to rain. I always look at the weather, kind of see what I'm going to be possibly jumping in around the time that I will be jumping in. And sure enough, it was rainy at the time of jumping. But normally I do long jump before I do triple jump because they're back to back. And so my coach and I had set up a plan to kind of like really warm up before and get some long jump stuff in, really hard acceleration, some same side skips, some really powerful jumps. And the funny thing was I kind of took my time with that, and then I'm like, oh crap, like I forgot my roller, and I realized that my dad was still up there every once in a while, so I was gonna go check on to see if he could grab it, but then I see that he's gone, and so I'm like, oh crap, so I like have to go get that. So I go get that, come back down, and I'm like, oh crap, there's like the 2A triple jumpers like getting set up, and I'm like, oh crap, like I need to go check in. And I see this clock, and they have a clock there. They're pretty official, so they have like wind meters and like the clock. You get 60 seconds to jump since the time that the person running the wind clock says so. And what had happened was it hit 0, and I'm like, oh my gosh, can I not check in anymore? And like I see it, and people are still kind of like checking in. I'm like, hey, is it alright if I still check in? They're like, who are you? I'm like, I'm Jared, whatnot. They're like, oh, okay. And then they're like about to say like everybody's names. They're about to introduce like all the jumpers and all the competitors, and I'm very last because I was first. So I was the last person. They say like I'm the District 7 and District 5 champion, blah 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 blah. Jared Hathaway, wave. And honestly, like, I was just like, oh crap, like, and they're like, oh, okay, so you probably missed like the majority of everything. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, no worries, I'll give you the rundown of what, like, hey, we need to see your spikes, blah blah blah. You'll get 2 run-throughs before your flights. And I'm like, okay, that's fine with me. And so I'm basically just like pacing around, go grab my spikes, and they check them, they're good. And then I wait until flight 1's done. I'm a big pacer. I just like pacing, staying on my feet, so I don't like sitting down at all once I warm up. And so I decided to just kind of walk around in the infield because they had AstroTurf. And the cool thing was is that like I can like see all the jumps too. And Brian Tavera, who jumped 42.4, like I said, he didn't make it out of regionals, but since Nick's not going, he made it. So that win-lose situation, he jumps 44.8.5 in preliminaries. And so I know that I need to like go big. I need to like at least get higher than that, obviously, to win. But it was just like, oh my gosh, so he's gonna show up today, huh? So it comes down to my flight. My first jump was like 43.5. I'm like, okay, like we're kind of on to a good note. But it's rainy, it's wet, everything is just, it's not really too cold, but like it's just rainy and you're just wet. And it's not too fun. And mind that I'm jumping very last, so I have to wait until everybody jumps before I get to jump. And it just kills me because I like jumping first, setting the tone for like either making these guys just feel so defeated or whatnot. But I'm getting to jump last. My second jump was 44.9. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I am in first right now. Like I am in first. I just gotta hold that on. And I knew Brian's not jumping because he hasn't jumped for 30 minutes now. And I jumped like 40. It was like it was low 42s. I didn't jump too good on that. Nonetheless, it wasn't like too hot. But we go into finals, and they take 9, like I said, and Brian's number 8 and I'm number 9. And so we go through. He jumps like 43 something. I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay, I might have this. Like if he continues like that, and then he jumps another 43. It was like 43.5, 43.2. And I kid you not, like I was just like, I'm like getting there. I'm like, we're all having fun. A lot of it was just like, since it's our last time, let's just go out with some fun. And everyone's doing this clap where they do the slow clap, where they start getting it going, start getting the crowd going with it. But that was kind of everybody, and Brian goes right before me, and I'm just kind of waiting to hear what it says, because they have a reader board that says like your last name and your place with what you got. And my coach, since it was taking forever, he gave me a 4, a 5, and a 1. So I'm like 45.1. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, you just have to be kidding me. Like he's ahead now. Like he's in first, and I am the last jumper. It's my last jump of my high school career. It's the last jump I will ever take in a night uniform. And I'm standing in the pouring rain, about to jump my very final jump. And so during run-throughs, I had one good run-through and then one that wasn't so hot. And I'm like, ah, crap. But I'm like, I told my coach, I'm like, we're good. And I've already jumped 2 jumps from this mark. And my 5th jump was a foul. And so I know that I have to kind of play it safe, but not like too safe. And I don't know what was going on inside my coach's head. I think all of them knew that it was a final jump. It's like we're about to be done. All the crowd knew it was a final jump, at least in the stands nearby. It's a final jump. I didn't want to clap. Usually I do, but my last final jumps, I did not want a clap. Because at districts I did it. I didn't do so good, but nonetheless that didn't really play too much of a factor. But I just did not want a clap. I wanted to just be inside of my own head and just jump what I can. And I honestly, it's such a blur. I get going, I step back, take a little step back, and I take a right step, hop, plant on my left, and just go. And I do my 4 bounds, get off on the right foot, and I jump. And my coach had been talking to me about my second contact not being so heel centered, but like being more flat. And that's exactly what happened. I flattened my second phase contact onto the ground, and I get up and out, and I'm not one to celebrate, but I knew that was just such a big jump, and so I just screamed. I'm like, "Let's go!" And I just knew. I just knew that was such a big jump, and I go back to where they're marking, and I see at least a foot marker, and I thought it said 44, and I'm like, oh, like that's not 40. It's not enough. But then I get closer, and I'm like 45, and they're like at like the 9, so like 8 9s. And I just celebrated. Like I just knew that I had won. It was my PR. It was my final jump ever in high school, and I came out on top. And it was just like the most marvelous, amazing feeling that I've ever felt. It was one of the most nerve-wracking moments of my life, knowing that like how much work and time has been put into this season, and for it to come down to the very last jump is just, it's what I live for, and it's honestly some of the greatest moments of my life. But for it to come down to that last jump ever, to get a PR, extend the school record, and just jump my final jump, and I can't ask for anything better than that. And it was just so amazing, and I hugged Brian afterwards. He's a nice young man, very kind, very humble, one of the kindest people I've ever met. And we were talking after and whatnot, and just chilling, chillaxing, talking about everything, and it was just one of the greatest feelings ever. And I couldn't tell you how disappointed I felt when he jumped that 45.1, and he's just celebrating, like knowing that he surpassed my 44.9. And I just remember my dad in the car, and he told me, he's like, you know, son, I think if you pop a 45-foot jump, you might have this one in the bag. I didn't know it had to be a PR jump, but nonetheless, I'm one to believe that everything happens for a reason. And when it came down to that final jump, I knew that it was destined, and it was that final jump that really sealed the deal for me, and finally called it a career. Took off the uniform and got to wear a medal around my neck, which is something that that victory has never felt so sweet. But nonetheless, it's been a good run. I'm glad to call that a high school career. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy today's video. If you guys did, make sure to hit that like button. Give it some likes. Share this video with all your friends and family, just so you guys. I really want this message to be sent. That like really, you can really do whatever you want if you set your mind to it, and whatnot. And that's exactly how the season has gone. And really, I just want you to take that from this, and I want you guys to have a great day. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I will hopefully be releasing some more videos very soon. I figured I'd do this one since this is very fresh in my mind, and I don't want to ever forget this memory. So thank you guys. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you guys did enjoy. Like buttons, post notifications, everything. And I'll see you guys next time on TheRealJoru. And I'll see you guys soon. Peace.